What to Do When It All Feels Too Much by Sammy Taylor. Sometimes things just feel too overwhelming. We pile things on top of our busy schedules, rarely stopping to notice the mounting of things adding up. And regardless of how well we think we're coping, we sometimes just need a breather from it all and a moment to acknowledge the pressure that was building up. If you feel overwhelmed lately with all the tasks you need to do, here are some tips to help you feel calmer and more in control. Number 1, understand the root cause of your stresses. It's common for our brains to operate at 100 miles per hour without really stopping to acknowledge our growing commands or to-do lists. But if you're suddenly starting to feel like it's all too much to handle, note down all the things that are on your to-do list. Once you've made a list, begin to tune into your thoughts and acknowledge what about them is causing you to feel overwhelmed. Number 2, categorize your complaints. We simply can't control the outcome of everything in our lives, but we usually torment ourselves by making these things an important part of our list. After you write down your ever-growing list and the thoughts you have about the things on there, start to categorize them. Life is so much simpler when we acknowledge that it's pointless worrying about the things that we have no control over. Order your list into things you have total control over, things you have partial control over, and things you have zero control over. For the things you can completely or partially control, note down some productive actions you can take to reduce the overwhelm. And for the things on your list that you have zero control over, allow yourself to trust that there's nothing you can do but let go of them and accept them for what they are. Number 3, change your narrative. Writing down our stresses and deciding the actions we can and will take allows us to realistically organise the things that we have no control over against the ones that we do. When we realise something is out of our control, we understand that it's usually only the thoughts and stories that we make up in our heads that lead to our unhappiness, stress and overwhelm. Tune into the stories you are telling yourself and decide whether or not you want to live by them. What you make of your situation affects the experiences you'll have. Number 4, stop shoulding on yourself. Telling ourselves that we should be doing something dangerously implies that we're behaving wrong in some way or could be doing more than we are, and as a result, it increases the disappointment we feel when we aren't doing that. Reduce unnecessary stress by changing your inner self-talk to something more empowering. Swap out the shoulds to musts instead, and notice how instantly calmer and controlled you feel. And number 5, remember your feelings are temporary. As soon as we feel our situation is permanent, we tend to feel more overwhelmed. Our inner stories include, I can't cope with this forever, or how could I possibly have the strength to battle through this every single day? But we tend to only have these thoughts at our worst. Instead, note down whether there are certain triggers or situations that make you feel worse. Tuning into these will allow you to remember that everything is temporary and there are some things you can control. The takeaway: anxiety will push you from behind and then hide in the shadows. By strengthening the brain to filter out distractions and by being more in control of feelings, you can make decisions that will be more enriching ones for you. A lot of our worries stem from our thoughts and beliefs about the situation, but when we start to tune into and organise these, we allow ourselves to feel more in control of situations and less overwhelmed.